Greetings, family. This is Kyle Dixon here with another video for your pleasure. I know you haven't seen me in a while. Forgive me if my video looks a little chaotic, but it's the 4th of July. So we thought, as myself and my colleague, good friend, Michael Walker, we thought we'd talk about independence and what that means to us as individuals, as Black men, as society living here in America, and just as human beings, right? Like what that means for us, personally and communal and globally, right? So even like with us talking, we've been friends for a long, long time. So we want to kind of share our conversation, our inner conversation with you all. And if you have any comments, please like, share, subscribe to this platform. Any donations help. A penny, $1, $5, 5 million. Hey, however you want to give. Give better to give than receive. So and as you see, the fireworks are going off in the background. I'm gonna keep it like that because I want to keep it really like real deal New York and real deal Independence Day. And hopefully it doesn't take away from the audio. And if it does, forgive us. But we're gonna jump into it. So, Mike, man, what's good? What's the word, bro?
Everything's lovely, man. Everything's lovely, man. I hope everything is good with you. Again, everybody's very festive. I see they're getting started up your way pretty quick, and I'm expecting it down here pretty soon too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Mike, let the people know where you just in general where you reside, and just maybe a little bit of background, and
Okay.
going into who you are.
Yeah. As you said, we've been knowing each other 30 plus years, but born and raised Nashville, Tennessee. Did some studying in Huntsville at Alabama A&M. Ironically, I just met a youngster about to start his freshman campaign at A&M this fall. So pretty cool. Outside of that, I still reside in Nashville now. Pop of one little knucklehead, 11-year-old, and pretty much stay busy with him and working in my studying. Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a father right there, Black father. So shout out to that. And also, shout out to the HBCU love in the house. We HBCU members up in here, respectfully. So just some respect on that, you know what I'm saying?
Always.
Yes, sir. So yeah, family, before I go into like, basically like the whole big thing of independence, Mike, how are y'all celebrating today? Are y'all celebrating today? Is it like a chill day? Like what's the word?
Yeah, for the most part, it's a chill day. I probably get more to in where I stand with Independence Day, July 4th. My nephew's mother's birthday is today. So,
Nice.
it's always a festive time for them today. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really where I kind of, my main association is with that. But yeah, we got some fireworks we're going to let off. We're going to be a little festive. It's for the kids. So where they stand with it is probably a little different than where my stance is with it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, same here. I don't have children yet, but I know when I was a child, it was really about popping fireworks. It wasn't really about the total deep history of the 4th of July, July 4th, 1776. Independence Day for America, the country, as it was established. So no, I could kind of get that idea. What I'm saying, for that. And yeah, family, like my stance on independence, coming from a more Pan-Africanist and just a more global Black folk, if you want to even just call it that. Black folk, African folk, FBA, Negro. Some people may want to still classify Negro. I don't think so, but Negrito, whatever, however you want to go about it. Black folks all over the world. And I know this is a day that some people feel like really celebrating, and some people don't. Some people say we already had our Independence Day, which was Juneteenth, right? So, Mike, I don't know if you celebrate Juneteenth, but I just start kind of celebrating a little bit, but it's still new to me, still real new.
It's new, and yeah, I do celebrate. I'm actually happy that we brought it about. A lot of people like to kind of disqualify Juneteenth with its newness, which is kind of odd to me. A lot of times what we fight for is that recognition, and now we get it. Now we don't really want to embrace it. So, I like the whole idea of it. Yeah, I definitely do celebrate also. You know, and coming up, I'll just keep it simple as African American, which I don't really like that term, but I know that that's one that will resonate. And yes, being an African American male, to your point, I grew up enjoying the fireworks. You know, our education, you know, as we were educated, we were taught to embrace it, and how, you know, we were taught as if, you know, we were a part of that American society. And, you know, as you grow up and educate yourself more and more about it, you just, you know, learn more, and it kind of sways the enjoyment or the authenticity of the Fourth.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Yeah, man. Yeah, that Juneteenth, I think it's important, like as a stepping stone towards like really celebrating our freedoms in this country, which is very uh problematic. You know what I'm saying? So, especially when you begin to dig deeper and deeper and deeper into the history and get like more of the nuances and details. So, like us mainly growing up in the South, family. I live here in New York City, but mainly grew up in the South in Nashville, as Mike said earlier. If you didn't catch it, we definitely had a different connection to Black history. I always tell people like we got a lot of the basics in school, but we really didn't get a lot of promotion of like Black history, especially in Nashville, which has a ton of Black history. And I didn't find that out till I got old, until I moved away. It was just like, man, I was upset. I ain't gonna lie, man, I was pissed. I was like,
Eye-opening. It's pretty eye-opening when you, you know, when I look at it at the scope I do now, opposed to when I was a kid. It's eye-opening, very
yeah,
much so.
it is so much civil unrest, but also like civil rights, which we did know that growing up. You and I knew that growing up, but like the intricate people involved, how people fought against certain things, like because they made it seem like we were kind of real passive, and it wasn't necessarily passive. The approach may have been more peaceful than maybe grabbing guns or grabbing artillery and like literally fighting back fist to fist. But man, those men and women and those young girls and young boys, man, who stood up in front of racism and oppression and violence, man, like, man, it's unimaginable. Like now to be able to do that and not like get hit in the jaw or get stuff thrown at you and not fight back, like, you know. So like for me, man, it definitely gives me more of a pride and courage uh, as I learn more about the history, but it also upsets me because we're still fighting for those same freedoms. When we talk about the theme of this talk, that you're not having independence. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So what do you feel about that, man? As far as like your take on Independence Day or just independence in general, just for you and your family.
So, you know, just in the word independence itself is it's a pretty powerful word. Um, just in itself on you know, how daily people fight for independence, and how daily people are okay with being dependent because it keeps them in their safe place,
Mm.
so to speak. So it is something that it's definitely something to look at. It gets odd to some occasions. You know, people can be dependent on their pastor,
Mm-hmm.
on their church, and they really allow these things to truly guide them while they can achieve independence. You know, as I do like to hear a good sermon, um, I'm pretty much going to absorb it the best by simply me reading it, or simply me seeing something in action opposed to me being told something.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that's just you know, the way of humanity, because it's all centered around survival and what's the best way to do so. And a lot of people choose to be dependent opposed to independent because it just works. It just works best for them.
Mm. Yeah, you made a great point, man. That whole survival thing, man. Like I think about that the past few years, especially us coming out of COVID, and like you said, you made a great point. That survival mechanism, like that dependence based on living on the structure or the mindset of just surviving, just getting through it, just getting over it and getting through it, and I'll just deal with it when I get on the other side of things. But like like you and I know that's not sustainable. You know what I'm saying? And not sustainable in the sense of,
Definitely.
yeah, not sustainable in the sense of like people may think you won't be here physically, but just like it's emotionally taxing, you know, and you really don't really get a chance to really fully live life and experience life. You know what I'm saying? And you made a good. I also want to go back to the point you made, like church and pastor and Christian faith. For those, again, we're not promoting it. We're just stating it because that Black folks practice Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hindu, all that stuff. But like, what do you think, man, as far as independence with that, man? Because I know a lot of folks say like, well, you don't need a pastor, you don't need a reverend to connect with God or connect with the higher power, or whatever you want to call it. But like, what's your take on it, man? Because like I said, dependent independence, I guess functionally, I guess, interdependence. But what's your take on that?
I mean, again, no knock to any pastor or the belief by no means. Mm-hmm. I just think that where it can get concerning sometimes is how one does become dependent on these resources, mm-hmm. and how that dependence totally affects the Black household. Mm-hmm. Totally affects the Black household. Affects the outlook of the Black man also. Mm-hmm. But seeking information is not a bad thing. It's all on how you absorb it and what power are you going to give to that resource? How much power are you really going to give to that resource? Yes, people can be so bound, and it's not simply religion. It could be a gym class. It could be anything that this person is attached to. You would be surprised on how they would give up their independence to fit within that bubble, to belong.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That peer acceptance is real huge, real huge. And I want to go into that too, like the physicality of independence too, like, because family, I want us to discuss, and me and Mike are going to discuss like physical, spiritual, emotional, mental, in regards to independence. So you mentioned a great point, man, that peer acceptance and also that physicality of independence, because you and I talk about health a lot, making sure we keep our health up as we get older. Him and I used to play ball a lot, used to school fools, you know what I'm saying? Like, we used to get it in, man. Like we had our squad, him, his brother, our friends had our squad, but I digress. You know what I'm saying? I digress.
But a whole nother show right there. You're right.
It's a whole other show. Y'all don't want none. Y'all don't want none. But yeah, man, talk about that, man. Like the physicality of independence, man, and especially as us as men, we feel like we feel like we, for the most part, strong. But like, how important is that? Like, not being in bondage, or maybe feeling like you are in bondage, even though you're not behind bars or like locked up or constrained.
I think a lot of us don't take full advantage of the opportunities that we do have. A lot of people can get stuck in a mindset of that we cannot achieve, and that's nowhere we need to be. We want to make sure that we're constantly striving, constantly maintaining that hunger for information, then using that information to assist the next person. A lot of people don't like to be told what to do or to be shunned when it comes to information. I know more than you, so I should be the only one to talk about it. A lot of times, when we hold on to that ego and that pride, it's just a wall. It's a wall to productivity, to actually reaching a goal or doing anything. So that's why I try to keep my mind at. That's why I tell my brother, my friends about and keeping our mind stayed on it. I'm big on if I obtain some information, I'm big on sharing it with somebody, even if it doesn't directly relate to them that day. Maybe it's a source that they be able to utilize in the future.
Indeed. Yeah, that information is key, man. Seeking out the information, knowing you don't know, and be willing to seek it out and learn it And I think that's what separates the good from the great is the fact that a person is able to seek out that info because it's there, man. It's there. It's like what Dr. Amos said. You have to. It takes effort to be ignorant. Dr. Amos Wilson. It takes effort to be ignorant nowadays. You got all these books and all these resources and info online. Even though some of the info is fugazi, some of it is like straight just gossip. But there's a lot of info you can sift through and get to the real, or at least be, I guess, a catalyst to the real, to the real info. So I hear you on that, man. Especially with cats thinking they like the only one that knows something. It's like they said they trying to sun you. It's like, dude, like you're not the only person that can get this info. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, come on, man. But especially with the health tip, with like the foods we eat and things like that. Like living in Chicago and in like down south, you get more like you have more access to maybe more natural foods at the grocery store. But living in an urban city, especially New York has gotten better over the years with having access to fresh fruit carts and things like that. So like that dependence, like you said, one thing I miss about being down south is the independence of growing your own food. That's what I miss because there's a lot more land. People got bigger backyards, front yards. So I found out at a conference one time, and excuse me, family, that's fireworks going off in the background, so don't think it's wow. You know what I'm saying? But I found out that in England, for a person to have a yard and not have to grow anything in their yard, that was a flex, if you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a flex because most people had yard and they would have to grow the food because they were poor. So and Mike, it reminded me of like our parents having like that couch in the living room that nobody sit on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it reminded me of. It's like, oh, I got enough furniture where I don't have to have people sit on that. Like it's just for show. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it made me think of. But how do you go about independence, man, throughout your day, brother? Like, because we're older now. We're still young, of course, but we're older. And like, how do you go about your independence for the day?
I take a lot of pride in my independence, but I have to guard myself on being such the hermit, such the individual who doesn't mingle with others, socialize. I have to monitor that myself because I can be very interpersonal person, very much introvert. So I got to watch that. My son is by no means nowhere close to that, so he's a get out type person. That's stuff he does. So I had to monitor that. I embrace his desires to get out. I see it in him, which is of a different personality than myself. So those are lessons that I learned myself on how I can become a more open person to things. He's at an age now to where I'm seeing him text back and forth with the young ladies at school. Thank God.
Okay.
But I'm kind of seeing that come into motion. So, and seeing that, seeing his approach, seeing the way that they communicate, all this is different to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and opposed to me down in every move that he always makes, I become dependent on him in order to keep me fresh into, what's going on, currently, the words that they use. They like a lot of acronyms when they text. So, like he's my point guy when I'm watching something new on TV and I don't understand. And I'm like, what is this? What is this shadow boxing y'all be doing in school? It's like he keeps me fresh on that kind of stuff. So that's what I mean by dependence and independence. Like now, everything's a YouTube video away from pretty much doing anything. You were mentioning grow your own food. I've started some tomatoes and some peppers this year, and I was heavily dependent on YouTube to assist. So it's just that balance, really finding that balance because, I know me, Michael Walker, I know I'm an individual. I can do things individually, but a lot of my real power is my ability to do things with others, to complete tasks with other people. And when you really locate that kind of balance, it just really you can see how that sets you apart as a person, and then you can see people who don't have that balance either high one way or high another, from independence or dependence.
Mm. No, definitely, man. You're right. I agree with you. It is that balance. It is that balance, and I love, like I said, with your son, like how he gives you, like, you're dependent on him, but then y'all are both independent of each other, and depend on each other. As they say, call it interdependence. But like you're saying, but it's still. But if you have to do the dichotomy of independent and dependent, then I could definitely see that. No, that's definitely a great point, man. And how does he take it? How is he coming into his independence, like, that you see? Like, I know you said you mentioned the texting with the girls and everything, but
it's so that one can be for me, it's kind of odd now at this stage, because he's truly going through a transition of I can do, we're out of the me tying the shoes or prepping the shower. Pretty much on the thing he's not doing himself, making a full course meal. Pretty much now.
Okay.
I'm confident, waking up, going to school or camp. From the time that he, I pretty much just have to make sure that he's up. Pretty much after that, he's pretty much a go.
Mm.
Getting himself ready for class, keeping up with his bag, his his clothes, keeping up with that stuff on a daily basis, making sure that he just follows a strong routine, and a lot of that is due to his mom making sure of that also. But as he's in his transition of doing that, I got to just realize that he's going to be his own man. He needs to be his own man, and how he becomes less dependent of me is weird to me, but that's just another thing I have to become open as he, grows up. And he'll still come back to me. Our conversations are different now than what they used to be. So yeah, that's good and bad.
Okay. Yo, that's beautiful, man. Like, the fact that he's coming into his own, man. Like you said, it's an adjustment for you, but for him too, because he's living it. But it's like, I was used to, you're my son. I'm used to telling you, that's interesting, man. Because that makes me think of, like, us growing up and, like, starting to get that independence from parents and starting to develop your own mind, thinking process, and making certain decisions on your own. So no, that's important. That's really important. So, like, when we talk about, like, talk about, like, manhood and coming into our manhood, we both have fathers, 2-parent homes, which was a blessing. Again, family, sorry about the noise. Again, it's July 4th, so we doing it.
All right, you're right. They getting time.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man, I wanted us both to speak on, like, the emotional development of us as men, Black men specifically, and then gaining our independence, making our own decisions, and also that emotional development too, because I know, a lot of Black men don't know how to emote properly, and what I mean by properly is, like, a range of emotions, in a certain way at the right times, because, like, the 3 emotions that Black men or men in general typically do is mad, sad, and glad. Right? Mad, sad, glad. That's 3. But there's a range of emotions. You know what I'm saying? So how did you navigate that, or are you beginning to navigate that currently? And any advice for brothers?
So I mean, this is a great question, actually.
Yeah.
And if I was giving anyone advice on the subject, I would really challenge them to be open to be open to your own emotions, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to gain any understanding about it. For whatever reason, us as African American men, what is it? Talk tough, right? Talk to be tough. You need to be this tough guy. You need to, you don't cry. You don't whine about anything.
Right.
And opposed to being open to you, having a wind of, of emotions. Like, I'm a being of emotions. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that when people miss that, deny themselves psychiatric help or the desire to speak with anyone about any mental awareness that you may have about yourself. You're really just, it's dangerous because they put themselves in a closed, opposed to, that open space. And open space allows you to have that conversation, allows you to look in that mirror. It just allows, it's just an open word of so many things, opposed to telling yourself that I'm gonna be this tough guy. I'm gonna be so withdrawn from my emotions that ultimately I don't even know how to deal with. Ultimately, they will creep so deep into your life that it'll be an explosion of that emotion, one way or another. And a lot of it is, you said mad, of the three, mad, which then turns into, I've been mad for so long, now I'm just in a moment of rage,
Yeah.
having relationships and the whole nine. So something just fair to be weary on. My advice would be to be open to everything, and especially be open to expose yourself. Not from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. Be open to that. And be okay with being told that you're wrong. It's not it. No one gets out of bed that day. Yes, I'm happy to be told about how wrong I am about this.
Right.
No one does, that doesn't happen. I get it, but that is a reality. That is a reality. So the ability to brace yourself for what happens, and the ability to really look at and process it and grow from it is a thing that dependence and independence will always be to me. Yeah.
That's on point. Man. Yeah, family. I hope y'all listening, man, because he dropped some gems right there. Definitely. I agree with you, man. You definitely got to be open as a man and feel comfortable with showing those range of emotions. Because, like I said, it'll get bottled up. Like I said, it'll come out like rage. You'll be walking around just angry with rage all the time, and that's when you start getting yourself in trouble. Whether you get yourself in trouble or you get yourself other people in trouble as far as injury, maybe unfortunately even death. Unfortunately, and it's just quality of life, man. I'm really intentional on like quality of life, and like I said, going past that surviving and going into thriving. Thriving and sustaining that lifestyle of thriving. And yeah, man, it's like you got to be willing to like know that sometimes you're going to be wrong, and like I said, it's sometimes hurt to hear, but it's necessary. I like to tell people, man, like, you want criticism, but you don't want brutal criticism. You want somebody who's saying, look, I'm criticizing you out of love, not to demean you, but to really like check you and lift you up. And you'll know when somebody's looking at you trying to like demean you, trying to break you down. Like
you totally know the difference. Yes.
Yeah. They just trying to be evil and be mean to you versus I'm telling you this and it might not sound great or what you want to hear, but the lesson is going to benefit you now and going forward. So, you got to.
And you see a lot of that negative criticism in the job place. This is where you really get a lot of that. And you really, and then from the African man standpoint, this is where we're bottling in a lot of the transgression that we have at work. I used to be in meeting rooms all the time with people who would definitely try to announce my shortcomings within the meeting. We're in there with management and other superiors at the workplace, and it kind of feels like crabs in a barrel is a good statement. And in those situations, you really get that. And then us as African American men, we don't know how to address it. So, we're coming off with, well, you want to meet me outside, or got some explosive email that we're sending out that, some random day when I'm just fed up with it. So, yes, definitely have to watch out for it, where it's coming from, and why it's happening too. After I understood that, this person's trying to get a jump start on me by belittling me in front of upper management. After a while, it becomes laughable because now I know how to approach the situation better, opposed to, being totally appalled to the point where I'm in a rage or exposing that I'm frustrated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Indeed, those politics, as we used to call them, right? The politics in the workplace. Yeah, and like when we talk about like economics, family, or like career, nothing's wrong with working a not what they call a 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
Our parents worked 9 to 5s. His dad, not to share too much, but his dad was an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying, and helped inspire all of us. And you can, there's multiple ways of as they say, getting the bag, respectfully. And like when he comes with the job, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're working for someone, there's always these ethics and things of, again, being independent of the job. Like the job is not you. You work at the job, but the job is not you. You're independent of that. You are your own entity, human being, and you work at the job. So just always keep that in mind, because it can be stressful. It can be stressful. It could be uh, 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 very volatile. It could also be great, depending on who you're working with and what tasks you're doing. But like what Michael's saying is true. It's like you got to be able to like assess the situation eventually. It doesn't have to happen in that one time, because there's many times that I've been at the job and somebody said something sideways, and I was like, I felt upset because I wanted to chew them out in the moment, but I know if I chew them out, I might lose my job. So I went home and I held that in, and it was like, man, I really want to shoot him out, but I don't know what to say without getting fired. It's like, and then you hold on to that, and then you start looking down, just like, man, I should have said something. I should have said something. So that turns from like rage to almost like disappointment in yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I mean, but then and even then, even if once you even got to that point, you really want to absorb that, and then just really, really prepare yourself to the next time. Hey, this happened. Am I safe from this for the rest of my life? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to approach this the next go round? And really consider it. And when you smell it in the air, now you're ready for it. Opposed to going through those three emotions all over again. Because that wasn't a fun trip, right? So now we're going to take that. We're gonna train ourselves to be better prepped for that situation again, because we're not. Who's to say that we're safe from?
Mm-hmm.
Same as locking the door at home. It's one of those practices.
Yeah, man. Like I said, and then like I said, freedom ain't free. You know what I'm saying? Freedom ain't free. You got to put in some sweat equity, man. You got to put in some energy into it. For your development, because the society, especially as people of color, Black folks, or like say African folk across the world, they make it more difficult for us, and that's not an opinion, that's a fact. And it doesn't mean that we should like hold that like as a flag, like I go through the struggle, yeah, we all struggle, like Frederick Douglass said, without struggle there's no progress. But like Mike is saying, you got to be ready for it next time. Now that you know that this occurred and this is a reality, now when it happens next time or the third time or the fourth time, you know how to handle it better. And it may take the
it might take up to that fourth, fifth time for us to get it right too. But as long as we're going back to the drawing board, and going back to that clean slate, and then re-prepping for exactly what's about to happen. Yeah.
Exactly, man. So family, we want to just like give you some tidbits of info on this Independence Day, America's Independence Day, July 4th, 2023. And again, you hear the fireworks going off in the background on my end. They're about to get it popping down on Mike's way. But Mike, any closing words, brother, like in just reference of being independent, gaining independence, the process of it, just from your perspective?
Cool. So, one, I want to thank you again for, inviting me on. I definitely feel honored in doing so. We're speaking on Independence Day, and 1776, America was, claimed their independence, right? So, story with that, I want to say like 1790, Benjamin Banneker writes a letter to Thomas Jefferson. You might have heard of it, in a letter to Thomas Jefferson. And he writes about how we still have to live under the shadow of your truth, so to speak. you as a country, you state that the country is independent while we're still here as slaves. And even when we were granted our independence, a lot of us as African American didn't know how to be independent when we were granted our so-called freedom of slavery. We were given the right to give ourselves last names and to go about, in the world. If you want to keep your slave master's last name, you had the ability to choose your own last name. And our dependence is the truth, was so stuck that the majority of us, as we were freed from slavery, chose the last name Washington to go about with and live with. So it kind of goes to show on the nature of independence, and to your point on how you really trying to get, really trying to find the balance between the two. So, brothers and sisters, my advice, or what I like to leave you with, is constantly educate yourself about the two. Keep an open mind and good spirit about it, and maybe as we all go through our conflicts, our joys of life, that we can do so with that balance going forward.
Indeed. Good thanks, man. Good thanks for that. And you're definitely welcome, man. Definitely love having you on my platform. You're my brother from another mother, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you. I know you're dropping the gems for the people because you got a lot to share. And be open, family, because he's working on his podcast, very soon. So definitely
we are coming.
Yeah. So definitely check for that. And family. Again, on my end, really like what Mike said. Just to add on to his wisdom is just really seek out the knowledge, because the knowledge plus the application is the power, and the power for you to be more independent, to depend on yourself, be self-reliant, but also know when to be dependent. Like you said, the balance. You got to know when to balance, because nobody's just solely independent. Somebody helps you, a community helps you, a culture helps you to be independent, right? And that independence is important because it allows you to be self-reliant, self-sufficient. So that way you can help others to be independent, but also be dependent, because no one does it alone. There's no such thing as a self-made man or woman. Everybody has help to get to the place where they are independent. And that's a culture, deep cultural value, you know what I'm saying, that Black folks know about. Now, can't speak for other ethnicities or other cultures, but Black folks know that. But so don't get caught up in that lie that, I did it all by myself. Yeah, you did it by yourself, but you didn't do it all by yourself.
You're not an island, yeah.
Exactly, not an island. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we want to share with y'all today. Whether you pop fireworks, whether you eat apple pie, whether you got the grill on blast, the hot dogs, the hamburgers, the veggie burgers, the links, the veggies, or whether you're just sitting up watching TV, it's whatever you feel like you want to do on this day, but make it the best day, so that way you can go forth and do and be your best. So on that note, family, much appreciated. Definitely check, subscribe, like, share, subscribe some more, donate. All right. And keep checking for me and my channel, and Mike coming up with his podcast and channel. And we'll holler at y'all soon. All right. Peace and blessings. And we out. Peace.